Hello everyone, it's Tonya with Scribbles in Time. I'm going to do a flip through today of my latest journal. The name of this one is Flowers of Blaine, and I'll explain that name in just a minute. Obviously, there's going to be flowers, and I'll explain the Blaine portion in just a minute. But first, I wanted to give you kind of an overview of the front of the journal, or the top of the journal. This journal will be listed in my Etsy shop. It should already be in there by the time this video posts. I'm just trying to get this video done because it gets dark so early now. To give you the measurements, I kind of laid a ruler here so that you could kind of do a comparison, you know, to the measurements. But I measured it before I started, and it is approximately, again, I always say it's hard to measure because of all the stuff sticking out, but it's about 10.5 inches long and around 8.5 wide, and then about 4 inches deep. So it's a very thick book. This is actually a very big book. It's one of the bigger ones that I've made, other than that Christmas one I made. This one's pretty big. But anyway, so to the front, it has the layering, and I did the wallet journal on the inside of the cover, so the wallet journal is sticking out. I personally, if I end up keeping this journal, I will secure this wallet in there and make it more permanent. But I didn't want to do that in case whoever gets the journal wants to remove it and, you know, stick it in their purse and use it as a kind of like a traveling journal until it's filled up, and then they can secure it in here permanently. And I'll show you what I did, or what I've done to kind of temporarily secure it in there. Anyway, so on the front, you'll see all the different layering. There's some ribbon here, and cardboard, the metal tag, little stitched pieces behind it. There's different book covers. There's the black, and then a real pretty green, and I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but there's actually gold embossing. The gold gilding wax around the book cover. Yeah, I think it's showing up pretty well. Anyway, leather straps, and the bottom, if you lift up the fabric, it's just has the initial book cover with the gilding wax, the gold gilding wax. Some beautiful old, this is really old lace, and then this beautiful flower. So the flowers of Blaine, the book spine here, I've done the layered book spines, and the main book that I used was a National Geographic magazine book from 1925, and so there's the spine from that. And then on the top, I layered a spine of a book from the 1800s. I believe it was late 1800s, I think 1880s, but it's called The Life and Work of Blaine. And this is actually a memorial edition. You can see it probably better in person than you can on camera, but this book spine is just so old. It's it feels like leather, and I loved it for this book because it blends with this leather wallet that I used here, and then of course, like I said, I used the leather straps coming around the spine. And then on the back, again, there's the gold gilding wax along the edges, and then grungy, and it's a green base color. These here, so this is the leather strap coming around. Obviously, the leather strap is not actually functional. It's just for decoration. But here I used, and I've put, I believe, 2 others inside of the book. But these are called Ostrich Eggshell beads. And they're just so neat. You'll be able to, like, I put them in hanging out of the center of the signature of the wallet journal. And whoever gets the journal will be able to feel they're just real thin, and they have a delicate feel, but yet they're also sturdy. So they're just really neat. But they're called Ostrich Eggshell beads. There's the view from the bottom. Most of that is the items that are hanging out of the signatures, which I will try to remember to point those out as I go. Here's a view from the side. Let me kind of turn it so you can see it all like that. And then here's a view from the top. Okay. I think that's pretty much everything. I may have left out some of the items that I layered in there. Okay, so when you open it up, this one has a lot of fabrics in it. And here on the front, I wanted to leave the original papers of the book. Like I said, this was a 1925 National Geographic magazine book. So I'm really excited to have those pages because there's really some neat, interesting information on the pages as well as neat pictures. But yeah, you can see the book has stamped in it property of, what does that say? Northumberland. I think it says Northumberland schools. I can't tell what that word is. Let's see. I'll hold it up. Maybe someone will recognize that. But anyway, or maybe the front was more, this just says Northumberland Area High School. Okay, so the wallet journal is leather, and it has a metal plate here on the front. There's no rhyme or reason to the number. The ostrich eggshell beads are hanging out at the center of the signature, so you'll be able to feel and get a feel of those. The signature, it's a one signature, approximately, I think there was 34-ish writing surfaces inside of this, but it's one signature, and I do have the stitching exposed. When you open it up, on the first cover, slid in here, I have a card with flowers, and I would say this is vintage. I think, to me, it looks like maybe like the 70s. And I just love the way the green coordinated with the book. So I put that in there. And this is a little glassing bag on the top, and I put a feather inside of that. I wanted this to look somewhat botanical. Definitely flowers, obviously, because of the cover, but I wanted it to have just more of a nature feel about it. So I started off thinking botanical, and then I've kind of just gone more into nature. Just a little tag tucked in there. Right here is another feather, and I showed this on another video where I was just talking about tiny little feathers. It was, I had found, this is not a hummingbird feather, but I had found a hummingbird feather, so I had also found this little bitty feather, and so I put it inside of a little protective sleeve and tucked it down into this pocket like that. And then another little tag, and then tucked down into here is an old photograph of a little boy, and I've attached a key to that. And I've just kind of tucked the photograph down into here. I try to push it kind of down in there, and I use the key a little bit to push it. And then hang the key out to help pull it back out. Now we'll go over the pages. Oh, let me go ahead and flip to the back and show you the back of what I have in the pockets back here while I'm thinking about it. So back here there is just a grunged up index card for writing on. Here's an old Viewmaster envelope, and it's just clipped on with a rusty clip. And inside of there is one of the cook's labels. I don't always like to attach these to pages because they're so thin, and you can just feel how, I guess, original they are when you haven't attached it. It can be attached to a page. All it requires is just gluing it on, but I like to leave them loose and the person can decide what they want to do with them, but that way they can feel how original it is. And in here I just have a check slid down in there. I like the way the word check showed through that little peekaboo window. Just get it back in there. to work it in. There we go. And then there. And then back here's just some tickets, a little coin envelope, and another little tag. Okay, so here on the front is a Pennsylvania Railroad, like a ticket. It would be from the early 1900s, I believe, because obviously there's a 19. But I don't know how old that is. I do feel like it's pretty old. Here's just a little flip out with a stamp. This is one of the stamps I got from Selena at Armour Fabrics. Little flip out there. Some of the old fabric that I love to use. It's just kind of layered in there. This is coffee dyed paper with some leaves coming down the edge like that. Down. Another index card with a cigar band on that as a tab. Little grungy piece of paper with a fabric tag. A book page with some pretty trim on it. Some of the old fabric, real thin. And this is another piece of the coffee dyed paper with some real pretty trim on it, and I used the deep kind of a burgundy orangey color because it coordinates with the colors of the journal so well. Little piece of paper with a fabric tag on that to flip it out. And then this is in the center of the signature is a little tally bridge scorecard. Again with the nature. Paper, and I used an old postage stamp to flip that out. Some old trim. I keep holding this up too high, I'm sorry. You hold it farther away so you can see the full thing. There's the other piece, the other side of that little piece of old fabric, and here's some real pretty tassel trim along the side of this page. This one folds out with a postage stamp on it. This has a little fabric tag on there. Again, some trim coming down the edge of that page. This is the other side of that real old fabric there. And here's a fabric tag on this little piece of paper. And then the back page is a inventory tag that I used as the back page of the signature. There we go. And that's the wallet journal. I tell you what, if I don't seem as cheerful and talkative as I normally do, now I did use this little clip. So let me talk about this real quick. So the way I attach this for now is I tied a ribbon. I put the little eyelets here, and I just tied a ribbon through here for now to slide this into. But again, to me, this is not super. I use the little rusty clip to kind of hook the ribbon on. But to me, this is not, like, for me, I would personally want this glued down and secured so that it stays in the same spot, because with the way it is, you can slide it, which is fine. If somebody wants to take it out, they can write on it. That's why I did it this way. They can stick it in their purse until they have it filled with writing and pictures and whatever that they put in it. It's removable, and then once they fill it up, they can attach it to the front of the book permanently at whatever, you know, distance they want to attach it outside of the book. To me, that would be the perfect width of the book right there. But that is the wallet. Now, the other part of the journal is a lot of fabrics, a lot of doilies and, or I think placemats and crochet and things of that nature. And this is what I call the art portion of the book. I love, love, love. To me, art can encompass so many different things, from sketching to painting, even, in my opinion, clusters and, you know, the snippet rolls, the slow stitching. To me, all of that is just such beautiful forms of art. And I personally, in my journal, I've talked about it many times, I have been painting and sketching, and I have also started slow stitching now. So I love experimenting with all different kinds of art. To me, even poetry is art. So to me, that's what this portion of the book is all about. To me, this is for your writing and that kind of thing, and then this is for art. So with that being said, I went ahead and did a couple of little paintings in here to kind of represent my thoughts of this book. And yeah, so I did a couple of paintings. Obviously, I always say, if anyone wants to tear these pages, like, you can literally tear the edge of that off, because all of the pages have a very rough, torn look about them anyway. You can gesso over stuff. If you start sketching and you mess up, you can literally gesso over it. The way I do it in my book, and like when I painted this was already all completed. I actually painted this. I started on it yesterday and I finished it today. And yeah, when I paint, I use my like wax paper, and I literally, you know, protect the rest of the book in whatever way. I have a bigger piece for over here, but anyway, so this is kind of the way I do it, so that I don't get stuff on the rest of the book. That works for me, but yeah, you can kind of go with it whatever style you like, or you can do slow stitching on the pages, or clusters, or photographs with fabric around it, you know, whatever you enjoy doing. So I don't know if I showed you this very well, but this is a beautiful piece of like machine stitching, but it's just such a pretty flower. I thought that was so pretty stitched on there. And so when I painted this, I put the little dots that coordinate with that kind of deep burnt, kind of a burnt orange color. So I put that on the tips of these little buds with the bird looking up at them. And then the green leaves. So I just try to kind of coordinate it with this material so that it would kind of blend with that, and grunged up the edges. And then when you, and then I kind of layered it to where I wanted the stick to show on the edge of this page. And then here is a beautiful crocheted doily. And of course you could still paint. All of the paper in this portion of the book is watercolor. This is mixed media paper, and this is watercolor paper. So you can gesso on the paper, you know, sketch, paint, whatever. Anyway, okay, so this is a crocheted doily here. This paper here, I've just stitched a stick down the side, and you kind of can use that like a little tab. Flip it over, and I did the X's on the back of it so that it would add a little bit of interest to this page. And in the center of this signature, I put the, I think these are some type of cork beads, cork fishing lures, I believe, or not lures, but the float things. I'm really tired. That's what I was going to say earlier. If I'm not as talkative as I normally am, we've had the election going on here, and that has been really consuming a lot of my you know, time. Like last night, I think I sat up watching the TV half the night. I've just been kind of shocked at this whole election. That's all I'll say about that. This beautiful bead here is kind of a not translucent, iridescent. I always get that word lost in my head. But anyway, so yeah, my time is a little bit off between the time change, and I'm just really, I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning and went to bed really late last night. And it's kind of one of those things though, when I'm working on a project, I get so obsessed with it, I struggle with sleeping. this material that's on the center of this signature, I don't know how well you can see it because it is getting dark outside now. I wonder if I can turn on my lamp over here, if that would help. But there's bees on it. Let's see. Oh, it's got a flicker. That might look better, I think. So yeah, there's dragonflies and bees. And let me just kind of hold it up. Really pretty fabric. And that's a wooden snowflake. And then the other part of that Crocheted Doily. And then here I just kind of did some abstract flowers. They're not meant to be detailed. They're supposed to be very abstract. I put a flower up here on the top. Let me slide it down so you can see that better. And then painted the picture here. And again, I went with all the colors that kind of went with this here. And then the green that, you know, kind of coordinates to the front of the book. And so that was the thought process with that painting. And it's just very abstract. There's actually paint splashed on it. I did this after the book was sewn in. Again, I covered everything. It's actually kind of fun to me to go in and kind of add things that you want to add as the book is progressing. It develops a personality. And I went ahead and started gessoing this page. I was going to do a sketch of a tree, a charcoal sketch of a tree here, and decided not to. First of all, I don't know who will get this journal, but whoever gets the journal may want to go a whole different route with the art in it. They may want to write poetry or do clusters, and this is not a book for me to fill up. It's a book for the person to be able to fill up with their own work. So I did start gessoing that page with the thought of doing a sketch on it and did not do it. This is the other side of that placemat with the pretty flower stitched on it. Hold it up. It's very pretty in person. It has, there's like a deeper tone in the petals, a lighter tone towards the edge, and then that green stitched around the petals. That in person, it's just very pretty. And then this. Whew. Let's see if I can show you how pretty this is. Let's see if I can hold it up. There's actually a little pastel hue to these flowers in the corner. Kind of a peachy undertone to it. Very pretty. On this page, I stitched on one of the, it says C&NW Trans Company. And I'm told that these are railroad ties. I have a bunch of them. I have a whole jar over here just full of them. I love these. They almost have a bell look on the top. I've shown these on another video, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but they are numbered. They're really cool. They're metal. And I just kind of stitched it onto the edge of this page. The little string can be snipped off, and this can be removed, or it can be left as it is. And one of the things I love about it is that you can actually use it as a little tuck spot too, like that. You know, to tuck a note in, or a piece of paper, or, you know, whatever. If you paint a picture here and you want to, you know, tuck something in there talking about the picture, or if you put a family picture in there, you can put a little paper explaining what was happening there. This is the back part of that. Crocheted placemat. And then I kind of just used a rusty clip. I usually like to put a hole here and run the bag through it, but again, with this being an art book, I didn't want to personally, I work around that kind of stuff when I'm doing my art. That's just all layered interest in my opinion, but again, that's something the person can add themselves, and that way it doesn't, if they have a picture that they don't want to have to work around that, they don't have to. But inside of here I put some rocks that are the same color scheme as, you know, the fabric here. So I went with just some really cool rocks inside the bag. I love rocks, but as y'all know, I love about everything. I love nature, and I love just about everything that pertains to nature. Kay Comer on the Facebook Junk Journals from Grandma Would Love. She paints rocks, and my understanding is she leaves them around for people to find, just to bring smiles to people. I love that. I love, she seems like a very sweet soul to me. In the center of this signature, this is one of those things I have struggled with letting go of. I'm sure I can go to Hobby Lobby and find more of these, but I love it. It's some kind of a flower, you know, like an artificial flower pot or whatever, off of an artificial flower. I can't remember where I got it. It seems like it came in some Happy Mail. I can't remember, but I love it. I've been holding on to it, and I've struggled with letting go of it. But I'm sure I can go to Hobby Lobby and find more. But to me, it just, I always say if something's screaming out to be used in a book, I have to use it. And for whatever reason, this kept getting in my way on my desk. You know, I would move it somewhere else, and then I'd go get a paintbrush, and there it would be. So I was like, this has to go in this book. So here it is. This is a little wooden, I don't know, it's a little flat piece of wood. It's not really a bead. I don't remember what that came off of. It may have come off of a necklace. And then in the center of this signature, this fabric has mushrooms and feathers and leaves and butterflies. Let's see if you can see that. I'm sorry the lighting's so bad. It's almost dark outside. Okay, let me hurry up. So this is the other side of that piece of crochet. And then on this page, this is an old magnet, and I've taken the magnet off. I have had this so long, I don't even know how old it is. I'm thinking it's 80s, 1980s. I have had this a long time. And it's padded. I don't even know why I used it in here. Again, this was just one of those things where I haven't wanted to let go of it. It's just been in my little stash of things. It's my only one, and I struggled with always getting rid of my last of anything. And anyway, it just was crying out to be used. So there it is, attached to a piece of the mixed media paper. And then this is the other side of that real pretty white and kind of a peachy color flower there. And then on this side, it's stitched around the edges with flowers. It's a very taupey color. And then here I put one of the mask charms up here. Oh, that was another thing I meant to say. So if you've watched any of my other videos, typically I grunge up this paper. I did not on this journal. And for me, again, you'll see I ended up grunging up when I, like with this, I still ended up going back and grunging it up. I like grunge. So I had painted this first with no grunge, and then I went back and grunged it. You can see where I actually brushed on acrylic paint and then went back with gesso and put clumps of gesso. So that's how I did this. I don't even know how well it shows up on camera. There's actual dimension to this in person that I don't know if you can see. But typically I put like clumps of the gesso on a page, and that way when I go over it with my ink, it kind of creates shadows around the clumps, which is what I like. To me, it's a grungy dimensional look, almost a layered look to it. But anyway, so my point to that was this paper, I did not grunge up the edges of it. I left that so that if you don't like grunging it up, this paper is ready to go. But if you do like to grunge it up, it's very easy to do. I just showed you that. This is so pretty. It's real thin. It's a very thin crocheted placemat that I kind of sandwiched into this last signature. Get that piece of paper off. And then down the center of this signature is more of that fabric. It has the butterflies and dragonflies and like a little postage stamp look there on it. And then in the center, I did a bell and that seafoam glass bead. I love these. And then this page, you'll see that it's very grungy on the edges. It actually has some holes in it, which is fun to work around to me. And then the other side of that crochet. And then here is just a little, I made a tab out of my seal that says, you know, it has my name, Tonya, with Scribbles in Time. And it has the embossed tree on it, which I love for the tree of life or the family tree. I just love the symbol of the tree. So I put that there as a tag, as a tab. And then the back of this signature. And then the back of the book I already showed you earlier, so that's that. And then I've put this green material, and it has little yellow dots on the flowers, which I thought kind of went with the green and yellow that's on the front. So that's going down the signature, the center of the signature, and it shows, uh-oh, it's sliding out. See, this is why I would want to attach this permanently. Whoever gets this, if they want me to permanently attach it, I sure do not mind doing that. I just think it will be more functional initially to be able to take it out and take it with you for people who enjoy journaling, which I don't really journal a whole lot. But anyway, so that completes the flip through. I just realized it's hard to put the whole thing in there. But that completes the flip through. Thanks for hanging in here with me. I'm sorry if I've seemed kind of not my normal talkative self. But yeah, if you have any comments, please, or any questions, please leave them below. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. And for the new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Welcome. And I do enjoy reading the comments, so I would appreciate any comments. And y'all have a blessed day.